Okay, so let's talk about that point in life. You know the one, maybe you're looking back thinking, where did the time go? Or looking ahead and just feeling, well, uncertain, maybe a bit overwhelmed by everything. That feeling, that's what we're calling the midlife crossroads. It happens usually somewhere between 40 and 60, and it can be pretty unsettling. The old map just doesn't seem right anymore.
Yeah, it's like this mix of emotional stuff hitting you,
Yeah.
plus just way too much information coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why we're diving into this new guide today. It's called The Resilient Heart, Navigating Life's Storms with Unyielding Love. The author is Angel Gabriel, and it's posed by Memonad.
Right.
And it's interesting, they don't position it as just, a crisis handbook. It's framed more like a compass, something to help you move from just getting through the hard times to actually genuinely flourishing. It talks about cultivating unyielding resilience and real, deep, authentic love.
So, our mission today in this deep dive is to give you a real taste of the huge transformation this book promises. We've looked at it closely. We can definitely highlight the big questions it asks, the science behind it, and, the amazing place it aims to get you. But, and this is super important, we're not giving away the answers, the specific steps, the actual techniques, those proprietary frameworks they talk about.
It's a how-to.
Exactly. All that good stuff, the real wisdom is only in the full book. We're basically here to sell you on the idea that this change is possible and that this book has the very specific kind of surgical guidance you need to actually make it happen.
Right. Think of it like this. We're showing you the amazing destination you really want to reach and stressing why the book's tailored roadmap is, frankly, the only way you're going to get there.
Okay, so let's start where the book starts, defining this crossroads. It talks about it as a time when the ground beneath your feet just feels shaky. Maybe your career isn't climbing like it used to, the kids are grown, you're looking after parents, your finances feel different.
The shifting sands, as the book calls it.
Yeah, and you start asking those big questions about legacy, purpose, what's it all for? The book frames it not as a crisis, which I like, but as a natural stage, a moment for some courageous thinking.
Exactly. It really validates those feelings. Maybe you're exhausted, questioning choices. It says, look, that's not failure. That's actually fertile ground, a chance for like a rebirth.
Okay, but acknowledging the pain is one thing. The book then shifts pretty quickly, right? Towards potential.
It does. The core idea about resilience here is really interesting. It argues strength isn't something you just get from outside. It's something you have to unearth from within yourself.
And that's where post-traumatic growth comes in, PTG.
Exactly. Post-traumatic growth,
That's
PTG.
right.
It's a powerful concept because it completely reframes struggle. It's about the positive psychological change that can happen because you wrestled with something really hard. So the struggle isn't the end. It's almost like the pressure needed to create something stronger, like a deeper appreciation for life, better relationships, more personal strength.
But let's be real for a second. Is that idea, PTG, really accessible when someone feels like they're drowning in stress? How does the book convince you that your past pain isn't just pain, but actually a tool?
That's where this practical self-assessment thing comes in. It's called the Past Adversity Seat of Strengths table in the book. It actually guides you step by step to connect specific hard times you went through with the specific skills you had to develop to survive them.
Ah, okay.
It's meant to show you, look, your ability to bounce back isn't just luck, you've already done resilience. But the real magic, the key to unlocking those insights for your future, that's in the specific method the book lays out for analyzing your history. You need that method.
Right, makes sense. And speaking of feeling overwhelmed, let's talk biology. The book is really clear on this. Stress isn't just in your head, it's physical, it's scientific.
Totally. It explains how our bodies often get stuck in this kind of permanent emergency mode because of, well, modern life. Constant pressure.
And the villain is cortisol.
Cortisol, yeah. The silent saboteur, as the book calls it. See, our bodies are built for short bursts of stress, fight or flight, But when that cortisol just keeps pumping because the stress is chronic, which it often is in midlife, it starts breaking things down systematically.
How so?
Well, it mentions things like impaired memory, weaker immune system. This is crucial. It can actually numb your emotions, make it harder to connect with people you love.
Wow, so the book lays this out clearly. It mentions a framework summary. The body's stress response cycle. Alarm, resistance, exhaustion.
It does. It charts that whole cycle and really details those awful long-term effects like the emotional numbness, the strain on relationships. It's pretty sobering.
So why tell us all that doom and gloom?
Because understanding the why is the motivation. You have to see the chronic, unchecked stress leads to actual breakdown to really commit to the how.
The how being the solutions.
Exactly. The text mentions there are evidence-based tools, gives an example like the 4-7-8 breathing technique, ways to sort of downregulate that stress response. But knowing about a technique isn't enough, right? What you really need, what the book provides, is the actionable, precise sequence of steps, the way to actually reprogram those internal alarms and, protect yourself long term. That sequence, only in the book.
Okay, so if cortisol is the saboteur, our perspective seems to be the key weapon against it. Let's talk about this alchemy of adversity. Once we get the biology, the book makes this bold claim. Pain might be inevitable, but suffering, that can be optional, because it's shaped by the stories we tell ourselves about the pain.
Right. This is where your mind really takes the driver's seat. The book dives into how our brains often default to these cognitive distortions, things like catastrophizing everything or thinking in black and white all or nothing terms. And these mental habits, they just amplify the distress way beyond whatever triggered it initially. So the first critical step the book teaches is how to spot these mental traps in action.
Just spotting them isn't enough, though, surely.
No, absolutely not. The second step, which the book lays out, involves actively looking for lessons, cultivating gratitude, things that it claims can literally help rewire your brain. Shift your focus from what's lacking to what you actually have.
And we know the book has a specific process for this, a 5-step framework, it calls it, from like event chronicle to future narrative.
Exactly. It promises to show you precisely how to take those past hurts and transform them into actual wisdom. But again, the how, those 5 specific steps, that's the core content you get when you read it.
And this shift, this alchemy, it really sets the stage for the next big piece, doesn't it? Reclaiming your narrative, moving beyond being defined by stuff that happened to you.
Yes. It's about becoming the author of your own story again.
That sounds great, but it also sounds hard. A lot of us carry around these old scripts, right? These limiting beliefs, I'm just unlucky, or it's too late for me now. How does the book actually help you dismantle stories you might have believed forever?
It provides what it calls the implementation roadmap, crafting your empowered narrative. See, it recognizes that just identifying the old story isn't enough. You need the specific, crucial action steps it labels like reframe and act that help you integrate a new, empowered identity into your everyday life.
So it's practical.
Very. The idea is your past is your foundation, sure, but it doesn't have to be a prison. And the book claims to give you the specialized tools you need to reshape that foundation. The tools are the key.
Okay, foundation reshaped, then we turn outwards to relationships, the anchor of core connections.
Yes. The transformation isn't just internal. It has to include strengthening those vital relationships, the ones that the book says are fundamental to survival, the bonds that release oxytocin, that crucial love hormone.
Our relational lifeline, as you called it.
Exactly. And here the book leans on some serious research referencing Dr. John Gottman's work on what makes or breaks relationships. And this part comes with a pretty stark warning for listeners. The book identifies what Gottman called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in relationships.
Ooh, sounds serious. What are they?
Criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. The book explains how these specific behaviors are devastatingly predictive of relationship failure, like scarily accurate.
Wow, okay, that's confronting, but important to know.
It is. The source material details these destructive patterns. It helps you recognize them. But the absolute most crucial piece, the thing that actually stops the damage and turns conflict into growth.
Let me guess the antidotes.
Exactly. The antidotes and how to use them effectively. Those are fully detailed, step by step, only inside the book.
So the message is, if you want your relationship to be stable, if you want to prevent that breakdown,
you absolutely have to learn the precise application of those antidotes. The book presents itself as the exclusive blueprint for that. Without it, you're just recognizing the problem, not solving it. Okay, so core bonds are strengthened. Then the book encourages looking even wider, building broader social networks. It frames this as basically a survival mechanism. We'll get this. The text highlights research showing chronic loneliness is as bad for your health as smoking.
Wow, seriously. Okay, that's a huge motivator to connect.
Right. And midlife can make that tricky. Not much time, maybe feeling a bit vulnerable, putting yourself out there. But the book tackles those hurdles. It helps you figure out how to cultivate real supported communities. It even breaks down the 4 types of support: emotional, instrumental, informational, companionship.
That sounds useful. Does it just define them?
No, it gives specific advice on how to effectively give each type, and just as importantly, how to receive them. because receiving support can be hard too, right?
True. Okay, so connecting outwards but also inwards. There's a chapter on self-love.
Yes, chapter 8. Self-love is the ultimate lifeline. And it's careful to frame this not as narcissism or just, bubble bath. It's positioned as your inner compass, a non-negotiable part of being resilient. The logic is, if you neglect taking care of yourself, you literally erode your ability to give love to others or even receive it fully.
But for someone juggling a million things in midlife, how does the book make self-love practical? Not just another nice idea. Isn't it a bit buzzwordy?
It tries to ground it in concrete techniques, things like practicing positive self-talk consistently, doing mindful self-observation without judgment. And this is huge, learning the skill of setting healthy boundaries to protect your energy. Crucially, it includes another implementation roadmap, this one for cultivating self-compassion. It outlines the specific steps, even suggests frequency, needed to make it a real habit, not just theory. That roadmap is the actionable part.
Okay, so building that inner foundation of self-acceptance that then allows you to be more open, more vulnerable.
Exactly. That leads right into embracing vulnerability, challenging that instinct we all have to kind of armor up when things get tough. The book flips the script and calls vulnerability an unexpected strength.
How does that work? Seems counterintuitive.
The idea is that true resilience, the kind that lasts, is built through real connection. And real connection requires authenticity. So sharing appropriately, being intentionally vulnerable in safe relationships, actually triggers oxytocin again. It strengthens bonds. It moves you from being guarded and isolated to being powerfully interdependent. And the book provides guidance like a vulnerability readiness assessment, so you're not just spilling everything everywhere, but taking courageous, calculated steps within trusted connections. You need the guidance for that.
Right. Okay, so we've rebuilt the inner world, strengthened connections. What's the final destination?
Legacy of Light, Chapter 10. This is about moving beyond just getting through things, beyond endurance, to actually making a meaningful contribution.
Like leaving your mark.
Precisely. It brings in Erickson's idea of generativity, that sort of natural urge many feel in midlife to guide the next generation, to share wisdom, to make sure your life adds up to something lasting.
So the ultimate goal is?
Living a purposeful, loving life. That's the promise. The book guides you through practical exercises like defining your core values and then doing purpose mapping to make sure your daily actions actually line up with the legacy you want to create. It's presented as the culmination, resilience, self-love, connection, all combining to create this enduring positive influence.
Okay, let's just recap that journey then. The Resilient Heart promises to take you from that midlife crossroads, maybe feeling overwhelmed by stress, by cortisol, stuck in old stories, all the way to a place of unyielding love, a narrative you control, deep connections, and ultimately leaving a legacy of light. It sounds like an incredible transformation.
It really does. And the book positions itself as the essential toolkit you need to actually make that journey, to rise up stronger, wiser.
And the author, Angel Gabriel, published by Monadas, it sounds like this isn't just fluff. It's presented as a serious exploration.
Absolutely. The author operates at this interesting intersection of strategic thinking and deeper philosophy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's positioned as a serious excavation of the human condition, which means those specific insights, the actual practices, the how-to for dealing with the four horsemen, the steps for reframing your narrative, the exact roadmap for self-compassion, you only get those inside the book. That's the exclusive content.
Right. So the Resilient Heart, as the book frames it, isn't just about surviving. It's about loving deeply, loving beyond just yourself, which leaves you, the listener, with a question, doesn't it? If your most fulfilling years could genuinely still be ahead of you, what specific actionable steps, the ones outlined only in this book, are you going to take starting today to write that next vibrant chapter of your own extraordinary life?